What's up, everybody? Had a we've had another eventful weekend, so I kind of just want to hop right into it because I love doing these Monday morning streams now because yeah, just so much to talk about over the weekend. So yeah, lots to share. So I hope everyone's been paying attention because things are getting crazy, and these are the moments you need to start like really paying attention. We're in the kind of heat of the I wouldn't want to say heat, but like the the worst part of the bear market is now over, in crypto specifically. So yeah, these are the moments where you really want to start paying attention and locking in. So happy to help you guys lock in a little bit. Um, I mean, some of the biggest news for especially for crypto that happened over the week. I mean, on Friday, I think was that so basically the whole clarity situation that's going back and forth between these Republicans and Democrats now. So this is going to a vote. I did call that last week. I said like, hey, everybody's like getting like super bearish on this, but like this is going to go to a vote. There's no way this doesn't go to a vote because like I mean, Senator Loomis talked about this. At this point, like whether this bill is going to pass or it's going to fail, it's like they're going to put every single senator on record and like get all, yeah, just like basically get their votes on record so that like when the midterms come around, those who voted for it and those who voted against it, everybody will know. And this is going to be the opportunity to try to again for the ones that voted against it, like there's now, I think I read there's 60 million Americans that are interacted with crypto or holding crypto in some way. So that, I mean, that's a substantial chunk of the population of the United States. What is that, like I don't even know, like 20% or something like that. One in five basically. So like that's a big chunk. Like that's a yeah, that's a target area that they're going to want to keep the voters in. So anyways, yeah, I'm super happy that this is going to a vote. I was like, I basically had zero doubt that it was going to go to a vote. So this also gives, the other good news around this is that it gives the Democrats and Republicans like another month basically to negotiate behind the scenes and like figure out and try to collect those, I think, like 6 votes that are missing. I think the Republicans need like 6 more votes or 7 more votes or something like that. So yeah, I think like let's look at the latest on poly market. Like there's been a little bit of a bounce in the poly market since then. I think it's at 21% now. It's kind of bounced up. It hit lows of like 13%, and it's bounced up to 21 now. I also think that this is like a very bad way of tracking actual sentiment around it. I think this very like specifically on this on Polymarket, this very much underprices what's actually happening. I have a little bit of a theory around this that because everyone in crypto and Polymarket is a crypto company basically, that everyone in crypto is already like so net long crypto that it makes no sense to like use this as anything other than a hedge. So I think there's a lot of people in crypto that are like, okay, since I'm so net long crypto already, and if this doesn't pass, maybe that's bad news. So I'm just gonna buy no. I'm gonna short this basically, and like say that like yeah, on the chance that this doesn't pass, then at least I get a little bit of money, like a little bit of hedge. So I think that this very much underprices what the actual odds are. I would say the odds are like much closer to a coin flip at this point, like 50-50, that this passes in September. Like a guy that I know who's a pretty prominent lawyer in the space, like he always says like these things go down to the like 11th hour or whatever you want to call it, like the last minute. And like these negotiations will continue to happen till basically hours before the debate or sorry, the vote actually happens. I think it's September 15th is when the vote's going to actually take place. So yeah, I think negotiations are going to happen behind the scenes like until that date. And I think they're going to do their whole politician scratch your back, and like if you scratch my back I scratch your back, and they're gonna find find a solution to get those remaining like 6 or 7 votes, whatever it is. So, but like it's been pretty wild to see, like the Democrats have just been fighting this tooth and nail. Like they had that whole Wall Street Journal piece that they put out. They've had like the banking lobby led by Elizabeth Warren has just been like trampling all over this, like trying to push it down. Yeah, and I like the White House official says here, like they tried everything to try to block it, but it's just you got to get you just put this to a vote, like, and they're either going to get there, they're not going to get there. We'll see what happens. Luckily, like even if this doesn't end up passing, it's still pretty bullish and optimistic because SEC and the CFTC, which are the two regulatory bodies for crypto, are ready to like put a bunch of rulemaking in place if this thing doesn't pass. So basically, they're going to try to replicate the new laws that would go into effect if this bill passes. Even if it doesn't, the SEC and the CFTC are going to try to replicate that with rulemaking. So basically, like just putting it into like the SEC and CFTC's like rules that they use to regulate these cryptos. It's not as strong as this actually going into law, because like a future like head of SEC or head of CFTC in the future, like maybe years down the line, could undo a lot of this. But even that takes a lot of time and is very difficult to do. So the best case scenario is that clarity passes in September. I still think it's, like I said, a coin flip that happens. But worst case scenario, I think we still get rulemaking from the SEC and CFTC. So I think, like from my personal perspective, no matter how you look at this, it's going to be a bullish event after. I think the bear market, like we've got to be like at or near the bottom in the bear market already. So I'm super optimistic. And on that note, on the note of the bear market and all this, I came across like one of the most important charts I've ever seen to help like really explain in visual terms like where we're at and why. Because I hear it all the time from a bunch of different people in the crypto space, like especially like the veterans that have been around for a long time. Like I've been here since 2016, 2017. We had a massive bull run in 2017, like one of the best ever in the space. It was absolutely wild. And 2020, 2021, that bull market was pretty similar, not as wild as 2017, but still pretty similar, like a very good bull market. Like most, if not all altcoins were just like running. You had like 100x, 1000x, like the winners from their lows. And it was just like, it was absolutely wild. And in 2024, 2025, when we apparently had another bull market, according to like the 4-year cycles in crypto, the only thing that really substantially hit all-time highs was Bitcoin. Ethereum kind of poked a little bit into all-time high territory. Solana a little bit also, I think, poked into all-time high territory, but then just got leveled. And it didn't really feel like a real bull market. So for those that like came into the crypto market late and like maybe haven't come in, maybe came in like 2022 or after, you haven't seen an actual bull market. Like those people from that class have not really experienced what crypto like really has to offer. And this is the reason why. This chart is like very, very good at visualizing it. So you can see here, there's a business cycle that happens all the time. In general, the business cycle happens around every 4 years, just like the crypto bull markets have been happening in the past. However, this last business cycle has been completely muted because of like what's been happening with the Fed. So they as everybody knows, they tightened rates, they raised rates and tightened the whole like business cycle and tightened the markets and basically like stopped a business, or at least like prolonged the start of a new business cycle. And because of this, like it really, really muted the crypto bull market. So like, as you can see here, like so here's the 2017, 2018 bull market. You can see like there was a very strong business cycle that was going into this, and this created like a huge like bubble within crypto that like expanded valuations like crazily. For those that weren't around, like 2017, I remember like there were projects like altcoins, um, that like they would like do a website update or something. They would like update their name and their website and put some new branding out there, and all of a sudden the coin just like launched 10x. It was absolutely wild, and it wasn't just like one off, like this one was pumping, this one wasn't, like everything was pumping together. It was like it was crazy. At 2020, 2021 was similar. There was just like right across the board, like almost all altcoins were like doing really well, some more than others obviously, but depending on how strong of a narrative you had. But 2020, 2021 was also very, very strong. And the reason it was strong was because it was also supported by like a US business cycle. So as you can see here, so when you can see by the green bars down here that when there's like a negative business cycle, basically like a contraction in the business cycle, the markets do tend to like start to like move up, but they don't really break out, and like you get that bubble that you see in like actual like really strong bull markets. You need like a non-contracting business cycle in order to support that, and we just haven't had that. It's been like right through the 2024 2025 bull market that we had in crypto, there was no like positive business cycle. This is the first time we've got, see this little red bar at the bottom there that's just breaking out right now. This is the very, very start of a new business cycle, which we haven't had since the 2021 2022 like range there. So this is very exciting. If we get a business cycle in the US, and this could be like the actual support that we need for a monster like crypto bull market that we haven't seen in a very long time. So I'm very, very optimistic. I've been talking about this for many, many years actually, that like we haven't had a business cycle, and because of this we haven't had a strong crypto bull market. And like I'm happy to see like an actual chart that really visualizes this now. But anyways, long story short, this is incredibly bullish. It's not just me that thinks so. Like you can actually see Berkshire Hathaway, which is a pretty good signal. Like Warren Buffett's company there, I think he's still a chairman. He's been hoarding cash. They're up to like $400 billion in cash, and they haven't really been deploying anything. It's been 3.5 years now. So what is that, like almost 4 years? Like, yeah, basically since the bottom of that last business cycle. Like you can see that like big companies like Berkshire Hathaway, like companies that have that like invest trillions of dollars and that are now sitting on like $400 billion of cash, like they really invest around business cycles. This is where the majority of cash from every single market deploys, is during business cycles. And because we haven't had this business cycle, like these huge companies have just been hoarding cash and like making like very conservative investments. So yeah, like Berkshire Hathaway actually just began deploying their $400 billion worth of cash this past quarter. So, and this is like I said, coincidentally aligning up with the new business cycle that's approaching. So yeah, this is incredibly bullish and makes me even more bullish for the next crypto bull market here. So, which according to 4-year cycles should happen in 2027. Should be like the start of the bubble portion of the bull market. Anyways, in general, like altcoins usually spread out to like the long tail takes a little bit longer, and this could flow into 2028. However, there is also an argument that because of AI and how it speeds everything up, things could move a little bit faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if we really start to see things start to leg up in fourth quarter of this year here. And yeah, we could have like a slightly earlier bull market than usual. I think that this could be the case, especially people front running this positive business cycle that's starting to happen. I think like, because in general, like, it's usually like the second half of 2027, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see first half of 2027 things like getting really, really bullish in the space. So yeah, I'm incredibly bullish, and I hope everyone's paying attention because yeah, a lot of good stuff coming ahead. Um, Other news in the markets: Saylor back at it. He is selling more Bitcoin. I love how he doesn't even like put it in his tweets anymore that he sold Bitcoin. He actually just calls it he repurchasing STRC. Um, he doesn't actually like say in here like, oh, I sold $100 million worth of Bitcoin last week. People have to like dig it out of, but you can see here he actually, if you pull this up and read into the details, he sold another almost 1,700 bitcoins and like an aggregate sale of 108 million. So basically, he sold Bitcoin and used that to rebuy STRC. So basically, what he's trying to do is just trying to get the confidence back in STRC, so it doesn't do what it did before, where everyone was just like calling for its demise, saying that it's gonna go to zero. I've been talking about this for a little while also. Like, I don't think it's going to zero. I think people are just like very overhyping that whole situation. And you can look at the STRC chart here. It's almost like a confidence meter. So the last time I kind of pulled this up, we were sitting in this like 88 range, and I said that like, yeah, it's on its way back to 100. Basically 100 is basically par, and yeah, since then it's gone back up. It's at like 95 now. And if so, basically, like I use this as like a confidence in like Michael Saylor and the whole like Bitcoin situation that he has going on, his whole strategy. It's like confidence in his strategy, basically. So if this goes back to 100, it means that everyone's 100% confident in his strategy. And the lower it goes, it's like I said, a percentage confidence meter. It did hit lows of like 70, almost 70% or 70 there. So yeah, that's when everyone was calling for its demise and saying that like, yeah, like Bitcoin, he's gonna be a forced seller of all of his Bitcoin, and he's gonna like blah blah blah, whatever. Everybody like fear mongering all the time. Anyways, it's gone right back to 95, and it's probably headed back to 100. And it didn't really cost him too much in Bitcoin to get that back up. I think he's only sold like, I don't know, like a few $100 million worth of Bitcoin, and still has like billions and billions of dollars worth to get the confidence back up. The nice thing about this is that at least this kind of kills the worst case scenario is kind of over for this whole Michael Saylor situation. He's gone through like a really bad sentiment period and made it through. So for those that don't follow, like there's like this term called Lindy, and yeah, the more people like call for your demise and like try to say that you're gonna die, and you make it through that, and it makes you stronger like over the long period of time. It makes you more Lindy, is what they say. And like that's why Bitcoin, like there's a lot of like overall confidence in Bitcoin now, because it's survived so many cycles of people calling its death. And same with Ethereum. Like the longer you can survive and make it through these horrible cycles, the more like the stronger, the more Lindy you become. So I think that Michael Saylor just made it through his kind of first major crisis, and that should like improve the confidence that he'll be able to do it again in the future. So overall, this is great for the market because, yeah, like I said, it just raises the confidence level. And then the next time that a similar thing happens, it'll be like, okay, but he got out of it last time. It didn't really cost him too much. He'll probably do it again. So at least next time it won't be as bad, I don't think. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of my take on where we're are in the markets right now. You're getting a little bit of sell off right now, with the markets opening up in a couple minutes here, but I think that balances out. Like the overall, I think the sentiment is very much improving in crypto. Like I said, I think this September event with clarity is going to be like a bullish event, no matter how you look at it. Even if it doesn't pass, I think the SEC CFTC thing is going to be bullish. So I'm incredibly bullish. I think that we are at or near the bottom. I think that maybe it does like one more like attempt down to try to retest lows, but ultimately is going to keep putting in higher lows now. And I think that this is just a very, very good time to be dollar cost averaging into the market. It's not financial advice, but I mean, that's what I'm doing. Just going heavy. So other news, yeah, I talked about a little bit about it last week about how this whole Uniswap situation, the Launchpad wars that are going on right now. There's just Launchpad after Launchpad after Launchpad being launched, and like pretty like like questionable, I guess is the best term to use, like very like questionable like tactics by Uniswap here. They introduced this launches tab, which kind of it's like an aggregator for launch pads, and then literally the next week they launched their own launch pad that basically like knocks them out of business. Overall, since the launch of this launch pad, it's done like fairly well, as it should. It's launched by Uniswap, has pretty good name recognition, and like very good team behind it, despite their questionable moves. Yeah, it's done very well, but this has pissed off like the other kind of launch pads in the space, like especially like Banker, like Deployer here. He's the dev behind BankerBot. BankerBot is a prominent launch pad on like Ethereum base, and now Robinhood also. And so in response to this pools.trade, he bought the domain pools.fun, and he's launching his own launchpad now, like another launchpad, in response to Uniswaps, but on SushiSwap, which is pretty funny. I talked a little about it last week, so this is pretty ironic. But so basically, like everything that Uniswap has done has been in response to SushiSwap. For those that don't know, like Uniswap launched the Uni token in response to Sushi, because SushiSwap was launched as a competitor to Uniswap back in the day. I think back in like 2020 or something like that. And they had this Sushi token, and because of this Sushi token, they were able to like offer all these rewards to their community. And this was kind of like a vampire attack on Uniswap, and Uniswap lost a lot of liquidity to these new Sushi pools. And so in response to that, they launched their own Uni token. However, because of regulations and the SEC and like everything happening in the United States, they haven't really been able to like do much with their token. They just turned on the fee switch mechanism like last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that, which now it adds an actual like extra fee on top of their LP fees, which goes back to Uni holders. So it's kind of ironic in a sense that now there's like this new SushiSwap launch pad that's again launching and threatening Uniswap. It just brings back 2020 vibes again, so it's pretty funny to see. The bigger picture here, which I like to get into, it's like, okay, there's all these like different news subjects, but like, what's the bigger picture? What does it all mean? Like from my perspective, the big thing here that's happening behind the scenes is that like there's so many new tokens launching. It's absolutely insane. So like the Defiant like put out a pretty good piece around this, how just on like, let's see, just on August 5th alone, when this new like pools.trade or whatever launched by Uniswap, just on August 5th alone, they created over 10,000 new tokens on their launchpad, where like another leading launchpad, Pawns, launched 7,000 tokens on that same day. So like, just think about that. 17,000 new tokens launched in one day on Robinhood chain. That's mind blowing. Like this kind of gets to like a bigger theme that I think is bigger picture that people should really start talking about, is that like there's way too many tokens in crypto. There's just way too many. We have tens of thousands, if not at this point hundreds of thousands. Actually, I would argue like probably like millions of tokens at this point in crypto, and like people just don't know like what to do with all those tokens. Like most of them are like default dead at this point, even though like tokens in crypto and projects in crypto don't like officially go completely dead because it's all done on chain, and they have like a lot of them have like lock liquidity, so they kind of like feel like maybe they could pump again one day. But like there's literally millions of tokens at this point that like have like some small liquidity pools, some community behind them, but like are basically default dead at this point. And like everybody's just chasing like the new shiny objects on these launch pads, which yeah, is not sustainable in my opinion. So me and some people are working on a little bit of a secret side project that I would love to talk about soon, but like I think we are going to help address this problem that's happening. So yeah, more on that later. But yeah, I think everybody would agree that it's not sustainable. All it does is fracture liquidity, fracture attention, and I mean, I do see a future where everything becomes tokenized, but eventually, like that attention needs to become consolidated. We just like there's no way that you can have millions of tokens all like sustainably going up. Which kind of leads me into my other subject, that like this growing wealth divide that's happening, and because of that, like people are just taking bigger and bigger swings, like with these meme coins and with these launch pads. There's a few interesting charts here I want to bring up. So Mippo from Blockworks here, he kind of posted this chart. He's saying that this is the most important chart in crypto right now. I don't think it's the most important chart in crypto right now, but it's an interesting chart nonetheless. Basically what it shows here is that like everybody for like the longest time has just been like making all of these investments and plays into blockchains, like the whole like Ethereum killer, and like this new blockchain is going to kill Ethereum because it's faster and cheaper, blah 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 blah, and like 10,000 different like layer ones or layer twos, and competing blockchains have popped up, and every like all the VCs have been just pouring money into these like new blockchains and like infrastructure basically. And basically that whole trade is now dying away, and the big next theme is like actual financial applications or consumer apps, I would say. Consumer apps and finance apps, I think are just like the same thing. So if you combine those two, like the green and the yellow together, it's basically like making up a vast majority of where all the attention is right now, which is exciting. This is a good thing, and we need less like competing L1s at this point, and things are going to consolidate. I've been talking about this for a long time. I think there's going to be like one to three like winners, and then the top winner is probably going to take a, like according to power laws, like a majority of the market share in this. And I think like it's going to be like probably base, in my opinion, will end up winning like the infrastructure, like where most of the action happens basically. Robinhood is a very good competitor and has a lot of mind share right now. This is going to contract up and down over time, but Robinhood is definitely has a chance to also like be one of those winners. Who knows, maybe even the winner, but my bets are still on base. I think that they're gonna pull it off. They have like very strong like first mover advantage and potential network effects ahead with their like network token coming out. But anyways, my point here is that things are moving more towards the application layer. This happens all the time. This happens in every like new industry that pops up. Like this happened in the .com era also. Like when the internet first came out, like the first thing that happens is like people make large investments into infrastructure, and they built out like the infrastructure for the internet, and like laid all this like cable and fiber and all this sort of stuff so that everyone can get access to the internet. But then like ultimately where most of the value usually accrues is to the application layer, like the apps like Google, and who also builds like a little bit of infrastructure, but like it's mainly application layers like Microsoft and all their applications, and Google and Uber and Lyft, and like all these different apps that are built on top of the internet. That's where most of the value eventually accumulates. And this has been my bet for a very long time, that eventually we would get through this infrastructure phase, and most, if not all, of the value will eventually accumulate or accrue to the the application layer, which is starting to happen now. Which so it's cool to see, like apps like FOMO, if are starting to like have their time in the limelight here. I think FOMO has done like a pretty good job of like really creating like a super easy to use, like consumer friendly app. This is not a paid promo or anything. I don't even know the FOMO guys, but I've been playing around with it a little bit. Um, and it's interesting. The reason I think it's interesting is because one, they're starting to kind of complete my thesis around like most people won't even like really realize they're using crypto in the end. It'll just like look and feel like another like fintech app, but it'll be like powered by crypto, and this is what they're trying to accomplish. Like it's pretty blockchain agnostic. You just like betting on tokens, and it's not, you don't really have to like worry about like what chain they're on and all this sort of stuff, because like this is where crypto is eventually going. Is like, yeah, you're gonna like just like speak to your AI or use your AI app, and it's gonna like it's gonna like do all the buying and selling for you. You're not gonna like care or worry about like what blockchain is it on. Do I need to bridge my funds to Base or Robinhood? Blah 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 blah. Like all this needs to be abstracted away from the end user in order for crypto to become successful. So it's good to see like apps like FOMO that are attempting to do this in a good way, in a better way. But the bigger thesis that I kind of want to talk about here a little bit is that like people are taking just like huge swings right now because of this growing wealth divide. And this is another reason why apps like FOMO are becoming incredibly successful at this point, is because like there's just like a growing like dread amongst people. Like I shared this tweet like 2 years ago, and it's even more relevant today, and it's only growing more and more and more. Like people can't get ahead anymore, and because of that they're taking bigger and bigger swings, and it seems like this is like the only way for people to possibly break out of the rat race system that has been created by like the whole like fiat government system. Like this chart is showing like how like lottery ticket sales have just been skyrocketing. This I would next time I'll maybe pull up like if I can find like a more recent one, but like this is like last generated in 2023 already. Because yeah, I tweeted this 2 years ago. But yeah, like lottery ticket sales were at an all-time high, and now like 2 years later, you're seeing like these like apps, like I said, like FOMO app, that are just like taking off to like new levels. And I think this all kind of bundles together the same, like under the same thesis that I have, that like, yeah, people are just like getting more and more frustrated with this like whatever, call it wealth divide or call it like a K-shaped economy. Essentially like the rich are getting like much richer, and it's easier for them to do so because they have this capital base that like if you have $1 million, like a 10x for you is $10 million. Like that that's wild. But if you have $1,000, a 10x only gets you to $10,000. So like it's not like $10,000 isn't life-changing money for anybody, but like $10 million is, and it's the same capital, it's the same move. But like if you have this like bigger like wealth base already, it's just much easier to make money. And this is what's like very much frustrating people, is that primarily because of like the government's actions and its growing like debt problem that's happening in the United States, and growing inflation and all that sort of stuff all over the world. This is creating this K-shaped economy where it's just like, yeah, the wealthy are getting wealthier, the rich are like getting more better off because it's very easy to like grow, and essentially like the middle class is getting stripped away. Like you can see from this, like it's a very good chart. You can see like in the 90s we still had like some semblance of a middle class a little bit. There's other charts that also show this a little bit better, but we had some resemblance of a middle class even as early as like the 90s. It was much stronger back in like the 60s and 70s before we went off the gold standard and everything like that. But like, yeah, we still had like some resemblance of it in the 90s, but it's just been like getting worse and worse and worse since the 2000s. And yeah, it's not slowing down. Like I don't expect this trend to slow down in any way, shape, or form. So like, this is my whole thesis behind this entire podcast and this entire live stream that I started, is that like it's called EPU, like escaping the permanent underclass. And this is what I'm talking about, is like escaping this blue line, like escaping this because most people like by definition, most people start off in like the somewhere around the middle class, like lower, upper, whatever, somewhere around the middle class. But like it's if we wipe out the middle class, then you're going to be starting out in basically this like permanent underclass, and it's going to be impossible to get out of it, because you just like, if just from a like an inflation standpoint, a capital standpoint, like if you only have $1,000 of investments and you can't like increase your wages or anything like that, like you can't like 10x, 100x. You have to like 1,000, 10,000x your way out of that, and that's almost impossible to do in any market. So yeah. Anyways, this is my whole thesis around this, is like, yeah, people are just like starting to take bigger swings. They're being priced out of like home buying, which has been the thing that has accumulated wealth for most people in the history of the United States. People used to be able to like buy a house with their income. Used to be able to buy a house, I think in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s. Used to be able to buy a house with like 1 year's income. Like essentially like 1 year of salary, you would, the equivalent of 1 year of salary, you would be able to like buy a house for that. And it's like not even close to that anymore. I think it's like closer to like 10 or 20x. You need like 10 or 20 years of salary, somewhere in that range, in order to like purchase a house now. So like the vast majority of people are priced out of that even. So like, where do you put your money? Where do you try to get out of this like growing wealth divide? Well, you buy lottery tickets, you take flyers and meme coins, and like you just like try to grind your way out of this. And that's, yeah, it's super sad to see. I think that ultimately where this all ends up is that the whole like government system like falls apart, because it's all built up around this fiat system, and I don't think fiat is sustainable. Like it's going to be in like eventually it's going to get inflated away. Like look at this. This is the national debt, and like it doesn't matter. Like blue is a Democratic president, red is a Republican president. Like it doesn't matter. You vote for left, you vote for right. The debt just keeps on climbing. So like this whole fight between the left and the right is so stupid and futile. Like it's great for the politicians, because they can just increasingly like put these people against each other, and like divide them, and use that to like make their voting base even stronger. But like it's not the fight that we should be fighting for. Like I tweeted this. Eventually everyone's going to realize that it's not a fight between the right and the left. Eventually everyone's going to realize that we need to fight between like larger government and smaller government, because like I said, this chart is just proof. It doesn't matter who you vote for on the left or the right. It just keeps like the K-shaped economy, the growing wealth divide is going to keep getting worse and worse and worse, as long as this debt, and especially debt to GDP ratio, keeps growing just crazily. So yeah, like I said, this is the whole reason I started this live stream. I want to help people through this, and I think that the only way that you can really get through this, the only chance that people really have, because like home ownership is not the way, investing in general is the only kind of chance that you have. But if you really want to like actually try to get into like the upper class, the only shot you really have is like new technologies, and being on the forefront of these new technologies and using them to your advantage, and investing in them, and investing your time and your money into these technologies. And the bleeding edge of these technologies is crypto and AI. Eventually, they're going to be fused together. But yeah, we're still very, very early in this space. But it's not going to, like, the opportunity is not going to last too much longer. I do think that the next bull market in the crypto is going to be huge. I think it's going to be one of the best ones we've had in a very, very long time. Could be similar to like the 2017, 2018 bull market. So yeah, that's where all my attention focuses. Again, not financial advice, but all my attention and focus is in crypto and AI, and helping people through this, helping myself through this. And I think that's where everybody should be focusing all their time and money and attention, is crypto and AI, and this fusion of these two technologies. So anyways, that's my kind of rant for the day, and hope you guys keep tuning in. I'll kind of help guide you through it. Get into the live chats also. We can talk these things through. I've got more interesting guests and stuff coming on in the future, but and then yeah, some secret projects that we're working on behind the scenes that I'm excited to share about too. So appreciate you, DP. Yeah, hop into the chat. I really appreciate everybody watching, tuning in, supporting. So yeah, excited to share a lot more soon. So peace out, everybody.